Seller's remorse. Well, that's a strange term, but actually we know of buyer's remorse, and they are very similar. Essentially, there is always emotion that is tied to a real estate transaction, whether you are the buyer or the seller. So let's look at this a little bit, because we want to know that a seller says they're ready to sell and all of a sudden the timing isn't that good. Or buyers sign a contract and panic sets in. Let's see how we might wring out this emotion from the transaction to make this a more logical decision. First step, hire a realtor. The realtor is going to allow you to utilize logic, present more logic, so that you do have a good logical conclusion. Decide early on what are your wants and what are your needs. There's a great distinction here. A young couple might need to have at least a 2-bedroom because they want to have children. Maybe they're deciding it will be 2 children early on. They need to buy a 3-bedroom. That's a distinct need. But they might want a pool, or they might want to be very convenient to the shopping centers that are in the area. But those are wants, and they need to be distinguished. Empty nester. They might need a small yard or need a condominium, for instance. They might need the convenience that are the wants of a young couple because they don't travel as much. They don't use their car as much. They need things closer. So make sure you have a needs and wants list. Sellers, they might need to have a certain type of financing come their way. Cash or conventional. They can't accept VA, FHA. They might have some timing needs. They might have to sell by a certain time. Their wants might be something else, like that closing date that they can stretch. So needs and wants, very important for both buyers and sellers. Now that you have that out of the way, it's time to talk to an expert in the financial situation that you find yourself in. That might be a financial advisor depending on your position. Certainly it's a mortgage lender or a banker. Find those experts, take your needs and wants and plug them in so that you have an idea of financially where you can go. Next step, create that super pros and cons. Get a really good detailed list of pros and cons before you buy or sell a home. Then bring that realtor back in. Go over all of this with your realtor, and they will help you make a logical, business-like decision and wring out as much of that emotion that you might bring to the table so that remorse is not a problem when you go to the closing table. This is Pete King with a Perdido perspective.